Today, I want to show you the board, the audio control console, or the mixer, or the desk. But in general, in radio, we call this the board. And it's got some historic significance behind that, but we'll get into that. I want to cover the basics of an audio control console or a board, one specific to radio, because this is an audio control console or a board for the radio station. It's a little bit different from all the dials and everything that you'll see in a recording studio, and we may get into that a little bit later on in the year. But for today, I want to show you the radio board. So I'm going to go from bottom left all the way up to top right, and just kind of cover all of the basics of the board that you'll run into. What do all these dials do? It looks a little bit intimidating at first, but it's really not that bad. A lot of it is just redundant. So right here, right off this board, we've got 8 different modules. 1 module, 2 module, 3 module, 4 module. This whole area, these are all individual modules, and they control individual sources that come into the board. Traditionally in radio, you'll find that the announcer mic is all the way over here on the left. So this one right here, this will be where my mic generally is if I'm going to be in a radio station. So I turn that on, and then I pot it up. Pot it down, turn it off. I like to think of this as in plumbing terminology. So for each of these modules, I think of like a main plumbing supply, big channel of audio coming in here. And right here, I have an on-off button, off, turn that valve on, and then I can increase the volume of that audio that's flowing in here all the way up, a full supply of audio coming all the way through. You can see that on my VU meter right there. I can reduce the volume. It's like a little valve, pretty much the same thing, and I can also turn it off. I can have this thing cranked up all the way, but as long as my valve is turned off, no audio is going to flow through it. I have to turn it on, and then since it's cranked up all the way open, then the audio can flow through. I really like that analogy. I think it works very well for audio, that plumbing idea. When I do have audio turned on, potted up, I have up here a couple of different places that it can go. So I can route it to my program channel and a couple of different program channels. I got offline channels, I got input channels, a couple of different places that it can go. It can branch off from this to 4 different areas. I can go to my main program channel. In the control room, that would be going over the air. Program 1, program 2, usually those go over the air in the broadcast room. But in here, in the production room, they go to my recording devices. So Adobe Audition, my digital audio workstation, my recorder, my mini disc, whatever it might be. In the recording studio or in the production room, it goes to those recording devices. So those are where they branch off to. So let me see, what else can we do? That's pretty much what you have right there. That's the on button, off button, the pot or potentiometer. Potentiometer, we shorten it for potentiometer and call it a pot, P-O-T. Some people have called it a pod before, but they have just mispronounced it. It's short for potentiometer, so P-O-T. So we pot things up, we pot things down. Again, my different program channels that I can route the audio to. There's another channel called the Q channel. So let's say if I wanted to listen to a CD and I wanted to, and I was recording something. Maybe I was recording my microphone. I'm doing a break or something right now, and I'm recording to a recording device. But at the same time, in my headphones, I wanted to hear how something sounded on a CD. Is that the right track on that CD? I'm not too sure. I can put the CD in Q, and then I can listen to it without it going over the air. So I'll turn my mic off, and here we go. I'll cue this up, put it in Q channel. And you'll see right here it says Q. So I'm listening in Q. That means it's not going over the air. It's not going into my program channel. Not at all. My Q volume is right there. So if I want to turn that down, the Q volume is right there. Turn it up and turn it down. Q volume. If I say, yeah, that's the track I want, I can go ahead and immediately turn it on and pot it up. And there you go. Why don't I hear it? Well, because my monitor section down here, my monitor speakers, are potted all the way down. Let me turn that up a little bit. So that's how to monitor with your monitor speakers. I'm going to pot down everything that I'm not using right now. Generally, this is the way I like to work. Everything that I'm not using is turned off and potted down. The only thing that's turned on and potted up is the device that I'm listening to or using at the moment. So I'm listening to my CD and I'm monitoring it with my monitor speakers right here. My headphone volume is right here. Turn that down. I'll go ahead and shut that off as well. My headphones plug into the side right over here, so I can plug them in, boom, and listen with my headphones. And I'll do that in the control room, especially in the control room, and in fact also here in the production room. Anytime that I'm recording something in here, and especially if I'm using my microphone, then I'll definitely use my headphones because I'll plug them in here. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to hear anything. I'll give you an example. Let's see. Let's turn on, pot up the CD. So I can hear that pretty well. If I hit the on button, pull that down. So if I turn the microphone on, it mutes the loudspeakers. That's one of the interesting things about radio, or the unique things about a radio console, is that it will mute the loudspeakers. So let me turn this on. There you go. Now my loudspeakers are muted. That's so I don't get feedback. Because if I had my microphone in here and it was turned on and my speaker was feeding into it, it would create this feedback loop. Woo! You get that feedback loop sound. So we don't do that. Anytime that we turn the mic on, it automatically mutes the loudspeakers so we don't get any feedback. So that's one of the interesting things about a radio audio control console or a radio board. You'll see that pretty often. My monitor volume is right there. Here's an interesting thing is that if I have my CD playing and I generally have my levels peak right around that midpoint, right in there, that's good audio levels. I like that a lot. My monitor section does not affect what the levels are or if it's going through the board. I'm just monitoring or listening to how it sounds. So I can monitor at a low volume, I can monitor at a high volume, really, really loud. I can pull it back down, but it doesn't impact the VU meter or my levels at all, because I'm just listening to how it sounds, not actually touching this, which does impact the VU meter. So I pot this down and the VU drops really, really low. I can crank it up all the way, and these little peak LEDs pop up, say, hey, you're overmodulating, you're creating distortion, don't do that. So we bring it back down, usually to this little dotted line right here. That's a good reference point. It's a good starting point, but I'm looking at my VU meter and I'm looking at my recording device to make sure that I'm not overmodulating or distorting in those recording devices. So that's what you need to know about the audio control console or the board for radio broadcasting. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll be happy to answer. Thank you.